Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. And this computer's running really slow. For some reason, it's not switching the screen. Here we go. It's Wednesday, August the 7th. The year's 2019. Let's talk trading. EURAUD, day 3 of trading this new pair. Before we get into it, I was once again scanning my email and looking at different trading forums and see what indicators somebody's trying to sell. It's too funny. I mean, day after day, they play on your mind because as people, we have a tendency, at least some people have a tendency to think there's a trick, a shortcut, a magic pill, a silver bullet, that there's something that if only we had this, if only we knew this, if only we did this, then that would be the unlock the door to the path of riches or happiness or whatever. But it just doesn't work that way. Every now and then somebody wins the lotto, but or mega bucks. But for most of us, it's just day in, day out, making decisions and choices that either get us one step closer to our goals, desires, dreams, or we don't move at all, or we actually go in some different direction, not necessarily opposite. So as you see these things, get bombarded with them, just remember that. Keep that in mind. Hopefully, it might save you a few pennies, nickels, or dollars the next time somebody's trying to hawk their wares on you. I really wonder why this is going so slow. Maybe I have too many charts loaded. Which, by the way, there was a trader that said something. They loaded all the indicators and their computer slowed down. Well, some indicators are more of a hog than others. They just hog up CPU cycles, and it's the way they're written, like the strength indicator. That one, if you put that on a bunch of charts, it will drag your machine to a crawl. And there's a few others like the correlation indicators, and I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but there are a few that are CPU intensive, that's for sure. So, once again, losing, you have to have your risk management, your money management in place. Stick with your method, make sure you're executing and performing. And, you do that over and over. That's called repetition. It will build your success, your confidence, and your competence. This is an upward spiral here. And once again, money and risk management, it's so simple. If you do that, if that's all you do, if you just have your risk management in place and only lose a certain percentage of your account per trade, it's going to be difficult for you to bust out. But once again, these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may be different from mine, and trading is risky. So if you need advice, seek it from an accredited financial professional, right? Because, those guys want to keep all the business to themselves. But the thing about it is, let's say you have $1,000 account and you decide you're not going to risk any more than $10 per trade. I mean, you could flip coins, you could take this same method to Vegas, and unless you're really unlucky, you're going to be at the table or in the game for a long time. Because basically, you've got 100 trades. Are you going to lose 100 in a row? What's the likelihood of that? I mean, if you really think about it, what are you going to lose 99 in a row, win one, and then, lose another two? I mean, what is the likelihood of that happening? are you always going to guess wrong? So if you have your money and risk management in place, and part of money management is knowing when to walk away with a profit. A little side story here. I was at a summer school session for my union, and Saturday night they had casino night. And one of my favorite games is roulette. So I was, standing at the table. They gave us $1,000 in play money, and what I did was I waited for the wheel for zero to come up because I was just standing there, everybody else playing, and the dealer's like, "What are you waiting for?" I go, "Well, just wait for the right time to enter." Because I know when zero comes up, especially on these little gaming table wheels, there, the spin's not too consistent, so the odds are, only what, 1 in 30, or actually 1 in 19 that I'm going to it's either going to hit zero or double zero. So even though it's this, the odds don't change from spin to spin, I just don't think 0 0 is going to come up 2 times in a row on these, or zero is going to come up 2 times in a row on these funky little roulette wheels. So long story short, after that, I started placing the bets like I always do on the 2 column and the 3 column. And when I got up to over 1,600, I cashed in my chips because then you get tickets, you put it for prizes, and I did win a prize. But that's the same way with trading. You have to have some money management in place and risk management in place. And, oh, just by the way, I was betting. I was each column had I think it was $50 in chips or $100 in chips, because if you want to win big, you got to bet big. At least that's the way I look at it. Okay, let's see if we can get through these charts here. Okay, for the weekly, as you can see, high to close 171. I mean, that's a movement. Close to low 285. We're over the open for the week here, 282. All the gaps have filled. But once again, it broke out of the previous week's high and it just screamed. So there was money to be made trading that weekly wick zone and or breakout. And today we put in a new high for the year. And then it immediately retreated 177 pips. So if you recall, when I first analyzed this pair, I thought it would be a good idea to only trade short, especially since the swap is the best swap short and the worst swap to be long. So if you're going to do any holds overnight, they need to be short, not long. And you see we also hit the pivot. So here's the first day of the week. We popped out of that range. That would have been a very nice trade if any of you. Okay, this computer is just not acting the way I want it to act. And you can see the first day of the year and the first day here of the month was here. So you see these, once again, trading out of these ranges proves to be profitable. And it looks like this thing is locked up. So I'm going to pause the video because we've only got about 6 minutes. Okay, we're back. And as you can see, I updated to show the open from 2019, August 1, right here. You see how we move through. And I update it here to show the range. So here's that first range again. You can see we're in rare air. That 3 ball at the top gave confidence for the short, along with the risk management, taking that short. You can see here once on the daily, We're out of those, rocketed out of the inside bar here a few days ago, out of the weekly inside bar, daily inside bar. Last one was 22 days ago. Obviously, we're not having one tomorrow either. Looking at the daily, holy cow, look at this. Looks like a pinball machine. It's easier to count the number of pairs that aren't over 100. Look, we've got one 472 euro, New Zealand dollar. We're at 255 here. The new beast 480. I mean, we're just talking some movement here. You see a nice break right here out of the previous day's high, and that looks like that would have been good for over 150 pips. So we're back in the upper wick zone. Notice this candle's pretty thin, so we got a lot of wick zone we'll be dealing with today. There's that yearly H1 highest open, gave a short. Remember, there was a 3-ball on the daily chart. Probably would have been 3-ball on this chart too. We'll see it in a minute. But a nice pullback for those trading the holo. And the buy zone, we had the pivot point below, taking that short trigger. You may have stopped out here depending, or at the open, but if you didn't, it hit the pivot, which was only a few pips below, but still was about 10 pips. A nice trade. Then after the pivot's filled, hits the buy zone, took off to the moon, and once again paying off. You know, there's some traders out there who are saying that, you know, there's no system that works in all market conditions, and I counter that with the buy zone, because you have to have an open, you will have a high, you will have a low. It ranges from the buy zone. Physics, math, trigonometry, geometry, you can't refute the buy zone. It's, if you have good risk and money management, you will be able to walk away counting your chips. So you see here, we've got the green rat zone, then it pushed into the red rat zone, then it popped out. So anybody entering a short here was paid off very, very nicely. Oh, and for the trader who was saying that the idiot mode in the rat zone doesn't work, it does work. It's just there's only the condition to make it work. Here, let me bring it up. Is it's very rare. So you see here, idiot mode is true. But what has to happen is, for it to come on, is it has to make a new high. So if it's making a new high in the current bar, it's saying you're an idiot if you take the reversal. So that's what the code says. So if you turn it on, the code's in there, and it should show you the big skull. But for the most part, rat zone, you don't really have to worry about idiot mode. It's kind of hard to be an idiot in the rat zone. And let's see, we are on H4. Let's expand the chart. We took out that pivot here. You see we hit weekly R3, and then we started to get a pullback. And we still haven't hit that weekly pivot though. So something to think about in the future. But we did hit the daily pivot, but then price rocketed away. So there's that 3-ball that I talked about earlier. You can see if you just followed the rules, read at the line, you were rewarded. And there's the wick zone, in and out, in and out. Now we're back in. Trading horizontal lines. Right here at the tick level. Not much, but traders, just remember, It's not what you trade.